In conclusion, now hidden in everything that you buy are multiple opportunities to generate leads and make sales. And that really is the point of what you want to do or what you want to take away from this course. You want to always buy products and services in line with your brand, your unique selling proposition, and your infrastructure. So in other words, if you were a furniture store, you wouldn't put off buying inventory or retail space or electricity. And so you want to think about your internet marketing business in the same way. If you decided on a particular direction, don't make the purchases that keep you from making the special purchases that you must make in order to have the things you need to do for your particular line of business. So think about how you are going to be able to build your brand and then avoid doing things that are going to keep you from building that brand. So what we've been talking about here are things that you can do to take your existing purchases, to monetize them and turn them into passive sources of income. And we talked about turning your purchases into services. We talked about turning webinars into products. We talked about turning your purchases into products themselves using the 7P method. We talked about turning your purchases into affiliate promotions. We talked about webinar and workshop jacking. We talked about PLR hijacking, in other words, using it so that we can have various ways of drawing people into our marketing funnel. And then we talked about turning our products into list building opportunities. Now we want to end our session today by talking about avoiding substitutes. Now in the book Peak by Anders Ericsson, he talked about the fact that deliberate practice is how you're going to improve your profits. So in other words, the only thing that's really going to improve you as an entrepreneur, as a marketer, is making sure that you do over and over again the things that are going to make you successful, learning from your mistakes. So you're going to have to go through repeated attempts to try different things. You're going to have to make sure that you're getting feedback. And sometimes that feedback is pretty direct. You either made sales or you didn't. You either generated leads or you didn't. But what you want to do is you want to be careful in thinking that you can substitute a software purchase for practice. In other words, the software is not going to do the work for you. It's not going to learn for you. It's not going to understand for you. You're still going to have to do the work. So as you use software, as you purchase software, you want to make sure it's a complement to what you're trying to do to get to your goal and not as a replacement for doing the hard work and understanding your market. For example, no software is going to make Facebook ads profitable all by itself without having us pay for someone to understand it or without us understanding it ourselves. We still have to do the work. We've got to pay someone in order to do it. In the business book, Blue Ocean Strategy, the authors talked about the fact that entrepreneurs have to understand where the market is and then offer something that isn't currently there. So you and I have to understand what sells. We have to understand what's really desired because people buy what they want and not what they need. And we have to understand that PLR is raw material. In and of itself, it probably is not going to sell out of the box in great numbers, but if we can turn it into what people want, we're going to be able to generate more sales. We have to be careful in thinking that we can substitute PLR for understanding our market and doing the work in meeting the market needs. Now, in the book Deep Work, the author talked about the fact that most of us fail to get the most out of work time due to distractions that we think might actually be work. So we have to schedule our interactions. We have to make sure that interaction is focused on a particular subject or a goal. And in most cases, we're going to need to get someone who can give us guidance, some kind of coach or direction. So we want to be careful in thinking that what happens inside of a group, social media group, Facebook group in particular, is going to turn into profit all by itself. Much of what we discussed there will go away due to distraction. We need focused and scheduled interaction, and we need to make sure that we're getting feedback from someone who understands the process. Now, lastly, in the book Smarter, Faster, Better, the author talked about the fact that for us to make concrete changes, we need to do things that put us in the driver's seat. He called that concept locus of control. So we need to be able to answer the question, what do we need to do in the next 7 days in order to accomplish our goal? And so we have to back into what has to happen every day. And so we have to begin to think about what's our minimum viable activity. The one thing that we can do in order to separate what we're doing from a hobby to really turning it into a business is there must be something that without doing, we cannot consider our day complete. So there should be some minimal viable activity that really does lead to your creating more profit. So we want to be careful in thinking that buying a course is making the decision. We have to go ahead and make the decision as to where we're going in our business and then to do those things that will take us there on a daily basis. We have to make the decision first about where we're going and what we need before we start buying so that we can buy the things that are going to lead us to accomplish our goals on a regular basis. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you either in another video or in another course.